Howdy, folks. This is Alex speaking, and you're listening to the Flight Test Podcast.
That was the most official open yet. That was really official.
That's why I don't.
I'm about to say, did something change?
Yep, we're still winging podcasts.
That's why I don't host the podcast, I guess.
So, as is probably indicated by the title, we were talking to Peter Sripol. What's up, Peter?
Hey, guys.
Our long-lost friend.
Yes, our long-lost friend in cold.
You abandoned me.
Literally out in the cold. It is
How is it over there in Dayton?
Actually, it was about summertime, but it's cold right now.
Yeah, you got snow and stuff over there?
Yeah, we have snow down here. It's really stupid, but okay. It's too early in the year for that.
So, for the few of you out there that don't know, Peter Sripol, you worked at Flight Test here for what, about 2 years, 2.5 years, 3?
Yeah, about 2.5.
2.5 years, and has since probably a little bit a year and a half ago or so, or a year ago, you moved back home. So we all live in Ohio here, but Ohio actually is a lot bigger than it actually looks on the map. And when Peter was working here, he lived about 4 or 5 hours away from his family, and you moved back home to help with your family business and to kind of pursue your own things, right?
Yep. Yeah, my mom pretty much had 2 restaurants at the time, and some cooks got laid off, so she needed more help there. But luckily, when I came back, everything kind of worked itself out, and like a few months later, I was pretty much just free to do whatever. So I was like, what do I want to do? And I was like, I kind of like making things, so I'll just keep making things.
Yeah, well, it seems to be working out pretty well for you. So what's it like? Kind of a one-man band. I'm sure that you have others that help out. I know that you are pretty involved with your family and your dad and stuff. And
don't forget Sam.
Your buddy Sam, who's kind of like your brother.
Yep.
How is the dynamic? Is it mostly you, or is there others that help out quite a bit when it comes to making content for your YouTube show?
Let's just say it's probably like 92% I have to do it myself, and then I have Sam to pick up everything else. Luckily, he's helping me like to do some store stuff. He also comes on and does the show, but pretty much any project in the filming and editing, that's 92% all on my plate. I have to do all that crap. So you have to run the cameras, manage everything, all the projects I have to freaking do from scratch almost. He's trying to get more involved, but the problem is that he works at this UAV company, which I was supposed to be working at, but the problem is they're running out of business right now, so there's nothing for me to do down there in the meantime, so he's trying to do all that stuff.
I see.
Well, I have to say, man, like, we absolutely love your videos, and if anybody like isn't familiar with Peter's channel, well, first off, shame on you, and you need to go subscribe. But Peter's doing some absolutely awesome projects. But probably like just to name a couple, the RC car one definitely took off huge.
Flying RC car.
The flying RC car.
I see what you did there. It took off, didn't it?
And it took off a little bit. No, I was kidding. The Lego plane that you did definitely blew up, and you've fulfilled like a lifelong dream of like building your own airplane from
scratch.
Yeah, basically
garbage.
Scratch. Yeah,
Garbage.
Lowe's materials. I mean, insulation foam. And just to calm everyone down, a lot of aircraft grade parts as well. Which that video series was absolutely amazing. I mean, you had a lot of people, I think, absolutely white knuckled, and just to see how well it went for you was really, really, really cool.
Yeah, we were super stoked.
I love the Reddit threads.
Yeah,
the Reddit thread on that thing was hilarious. Like, people were comparing it to a Cessna and to like something that flies at like 120 knots. I'm like, come on, dudes, this thing flies it rotates at 20 knots. It's not that dangerous. I can put hand truck tires on it.
That's funny. Well, before we get on to your home built airplane, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay.
As far as like content creation, like obviously you got quite a bit of that here at Flight Test, and we work in a very collaborative, like kind of team environment. How was that transition going from creating content, here at Flight Test to going back home and having to conceptualize not only your project that you're doing, but also how to capture it and how to share it? Was there like a bit of a learning curve with that, or how did that process go?
Well, I have to say, I was pretty amazed to like work with you guys too. Like, doing all that stuff, I've learned so much about like what it took to make this. Because even before working at Flight Test, I had like a small YouTube channel. Don't go look that up. It has less than 5K subscribers.
It's called
really
Foam
bad.
and Tape. Foam and Tape. Look it up.
Yeah, the Foam and Tape days. But Yeah, just seeing how it kind of all put together, I was like, wow, there's a lot going on here, but I'm not really sure how to do this. So I kind of ran with it when I first started, because like Josh would always make us fill out that paper where we kind of like list ideas and stuff, and have to come up with all this stuff and kind of storyboard like what we need to hit. So I tried that in the beginning, but then at the same time I was like seeing like the little more loose vloggy type stuff, and I've kind of like loved how you guys done that with the vlogs as of late. It's more kind of like laid back and everything's kind of just like free floating. So I wanted kind of a mix of that, and it ended up being like really entertaining and watchable, and it's not too much of a handful to edit either.
Yeah, yeah, I can kind of relate. And actually, just like kind of a fun fact, like shortly after you went back home and kind of started doing your own thing, that's about the same time as when we started doing the vlog. So like, I feel like you and I both have probably been learning how to capture content, how to edit, that whole thing, kind of at the same time. And kind of like what you said, like you just jumped right in and started doing it. And if there's anybody listening out there who has thought about kind of doing your own thing, that would be my number one piece of advice. It doesn't matter, what your experience level is, because I had some design background, but no video or editing background. The best thing that you can do is just jump in and make something. And then once you're done doing that, do it again. And every single time you do it, here I am 130 some vlogs later. I'm still no expert by any means, but I've definitely grown a lot and learned a lot of different skill sets over the past year. I'm sure you can relate to that too, Peter.
Yeah, especially I like seeing how you edit it too, because there's like it's one thing to like film some stuff and take it to a production company. I've talked to other YouTubers and I actually collab with them as well, and there's something different about just the guy that starts the project from finish and you film it and you edit it and you produce it. You get the full story that way, because things sometimes get lost in translations because of, I know some other people that have worked on some TV shows as well. I've talked to them. It's not as genuine that way, so it feels more genuine when you can kind of control it yourself and just upload what you want to upload and put the story up that you captured.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like your editing style on your video. It kind of becomes like your fingerprint. It's your style, and that is almost just as big of a part of the content as your personality itself. So maybe the editing isn't as good, or maybe it's really good, or maybe it's a little bit different. That becomes like not only the personality of the video, but also you as a person, because people see that. Like people, when they see you wrenching on your projects down in the basement and see those time lapses and see the camera fall over, or like whatever it may be, they know that you're the one doing all this. And it kind of, I think it gives the piece of content like a little bit more meaning.
Yeah, a little more authenticity. And Peter,
I agree with that.
Peter, I'm sorry for bringing this up, and you're gonna hate me, but do you recall the micro radian video?
Oh, screw you, Austin.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because it's really cool to like watch you like go from the guy where like everybody on YouTube was like, "Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Like, what's this guy doing?" To like somebody that's really, I think that in some ways, like obviously you're still learning and growing, but have kind of mastered your own style and like mastered your own. Like I'm really glad that like I really enjoy just the style of videos, and that's just partially that's just because I know you, but also I know that the style of your videos is you.
Yeah.
And I know that like I feel like when I watch your videos, I don't think I've missed one yet. Like I feel like I'm literally like hanging out in Peter's basement and watching him work on something. And like that's a really cool thing that is not easy to capture. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like it's cool watching that style, but it's also really cool watching the progression.
Yeah.
Like not only of the content itself, but also just like the way you edit it, the way you present yourself on camera and all that stuff. And it's the same like with your channel. If you watch like one of your first videos compared to your more recent ones, same thing with like our episodes and even like my vlogs.
Yep.
You go back and watch some of the first like couple dozen vlogs. It's like almost like a completely different kind of style today than it was back then. It's just kind of interesting to watch it progress. And I think that's kind of the allure of like social media and like vlogging and these YouTube channels that everybody likes to watch. In some cases, more than cable television. I mean, most people I know in my circle of friends, they don't even have cable. My wife and I, we don't have cable. We just watch I watch YouTube, sometimes, Netflix, other than that, video games.
Yeah, it's the same here. I don't have cable in my house either. No one I know has cable as well. We kind of all dump the traditional media outlets. It's kind of fun seeing like individuals like take on most things. So that's what I've been doing and getting all my information as far as well too. I just go on YouTube and just browse.
Yeah. One question I had that I thought of earlier was, I know that back when you were here working at Flight Test, in your spare time, like on the weekends, obviously we'd come here and we'd shoot content and we'd have fun working together and flying, stuff like that. But when it came time for the weekend, I know back then you would either go home to see your family or you'd be playing some video games online or something like that on PS4. How does your free time, or if you even have any these days, what does that look like? Is there something that you do to kind of like unwind after a day of like shooting and capturing content? Are you still playing PS4, or what's your spare time look like?
Yeah, I've still actually been playing PS4. Like, usually, like my brother's in Hawaii and all that, so he doesn't get to like play till like 6 to like 9 over there. So by that time for here, it's like like 1 or 2 in the morning. So then we'll play Grand Theft Auto races and stuff, and we'll just drive cars online and just race people, and we'll do that, and we'll just chit chat about stuff. And if he's not doing that, I'm usually playing like this VR game called Rec Room. I'm not sure if you play that or not.
I have.
It's really fun though. Yeah.
Do you have?
I kind of like that one.
Do you have PSVR?
Yeah, I have PSVR. I just got it like a few weeks ago.
Nice. Actually, I've had mine for a while, and I just I just put it up for sale to buy some RC trucks. Yeah, Alex and I just started getting into crawlers a little bit, so we just bought some crawlers and have been goofing around with them.
So what else is obviously we just had the New Year. Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year, bud.
What's the next thing on your plate? Obviously, you had a killer year last year. Do you have anything like big or something that you're really excited about for 2018?
I'm gonna try to build another death trap flying machine. Hopefully this one does its job better. No, I have no idea yet. I'm still kind of mulling around between projects and stuff. Like another project I'm gonna be working on in the next few weeks is an air sled. Because you remember those big motors on that airplane that I built?
Yeah.
I took them off. I took them off right now because I'm expecting T-Motor to give me some motors eventually. I've kind of started talking to them a little bit, but they just want to Skype call and all this stuff. So in the meantime, I got these motors off because they're a lot stronger than they need to be, but the problem is they're just not big enough as well. They're just not perfectly matched to that airframe, so I'm going to mount them onto a sled and try to, go like 50, 60 miles an hour on some snow-covered roads. And we'll do that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Have you seen the, I forget what they're called, but they're like, they have an actual name for them, but they're basically, they're like Cessnas that people like ride in backwards, and they cut like, the tail off. Like those things are crazy. I've
seen them. Yeah, they have them up in Alaska.
I wish I knew the name of it, but they basically put like a VW motor on the back of them instead of like the Cessna engine is, and those things just haul. But that's gonna be cool, man. That's gonna be a really cool project.
That'll be really cool. Yeah, I've seen. I'm in a bunch of paramotor Facebook groups, and there was one guy who took his paramotor and put it on like this huge. Oh, actually, I think it was just like a big like boat. He put it like on a big boat, and he just went flying around on the snow. He was going like super fast. It was super cool. But
I'm pretty much gonna be doing that.
That's gonna be awesome. Speaking of death trap flying machines, let's talk a little bit about your airplane. So, kind of give us the breakdown of like how that all started, and what were some of the challenges in making this airplane.
Which, by the way, I would say
it all.
I just want to say real quick, by the way, like that's like a 6-part series or something like that on your channel.
Yeah.
So like if you people want to see it for themselves, we'll
put the links below.
Yeah, absolutely check that out. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
Well, it all started at Oshkosh. I was like, there's some airplanes over there, and I was like, I want to build an airplane, but I don't have money to buy an airplane, so we're gonna have to build the airplane. So then I came home. Actually went to Cracker Barrel first. I still have the original sketch of this, which is kind of funny. It's around here somewhere. But I started doodling on a napkin, and I was like, yep, this is the airplane I'm going to build. So fast forward a few days later, I just did the whole RC airplane thing to test it out. I would test minimum, controllable airspeed with a single motor. Not that that's completely relevant, because if this thing craps out, it's going to fall out of the sky because it's so draggy and slow. But I had that sketch done. So then I went to CAD. Actually, no, I CAD'd it up first, and then I printed out a smaller, 1/6 scale model to fit a 1/6 scale, G.I. Joe action figure thing. So that flew around great, and then I proceeded to build the big one, and I have no idea how I did that. I just went to Lowe's, bought some stuff. I did a lot of research too. Yeah. Basically, if you're really wondering how I did that, endless amounts of research, studying existing ultralights and other airframes.
Well, the interesting thing too is the way you covered it. So you actually kind of covered it live. How many part video series is that?
I think it was 6 till I got it flying, and then there's 7, which is like the first test flight, and then 8, which is the real flight, the good one.
Yeah, so there was like, six videos of it getting ready, and like you actually released those as you were building it. So you didn't even know if it was going to fly. We didn't know, like the audience didn't know. So you actually got quite a bit of feedback from the people watching on YouTube. There's also a lot of funny comments. And so what was that like? Did you take a lot of that feedback from YouTube and actually implement it into the design?
Actually, yes, that's a very good thing you bring up, because every time you like start something, people like doubt you and stuff. You're kind of wondering in your own head, like, is this gonna work? Did I do everything right? But you really do have to take everything with a grain of salt, because there were actually a few life-saving comments in there. Like some people would point out that the control cables, I forgot to put thimbles in. I didn't really think about them compressing and pinching, and then it would eventually shear after X amount of flight hours. So I took comments like that seriously, because that's stuff I don't know. And then there's also comments that are just generally dumb, like, huh, you can't go to Lowe's and build an airplane. I'm like, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I think I kind of can do that. And there's also comments, like, you can't use hand truck tires on that. It's going to explode on takeoff. I would know. My Cessna tire fell off on it. I was scared and I wouldn't want to fly again. I read comments like that and I was like, who are these people? So you just kind of mull it over, but really take every comment seriously, but then pin it against what you know, so you can kind of do the best reasoning with the comments, because you don't want to flat out ignore everyone, because that's a great way to die.
Well, and definitely not every YouTube commenter is created equal. And you can kind of tell when someone's giving like serious feedback that they want to be helpful to you, as opposed to someone that's just kind of,
quick to the keyboard.
Yeah, trying to scare you,
Yep.
or trying to like,
warrior.
or just being jealous, of like a really cool project. But, and I guess, that we
Hey,
should...
look at me. I'm an airline pilot. Well, I got a few of those. Like, I'm an airline pilot. You cannot fly that. I'm like, I have 2,000 hours, but come on. An airliner, rotates 160 knots for like a 737 or something like that. This plane rotates at 20 knots. It's an entirely different flying machine. So it requires a different skill set.
Totally different. Like I would definitely I think like you got some feedback from some like ultralight people and that sort of thing. Like those are definitely the right people to be talking to. But something I thought was really cool was that one of your I think it was maybe one of the last videos you cut together of like the whole project and it flying and everything went trending on YouTube, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I mean, I scroll through trending usually like once a day or every other day to see what's going on. And there's just so much garbage in there that you just can't believe that, like, not to like demean anybody else's channel, but there's just a lot of weird stuff on YouTube that for some reason goes trending. And I just thought it was really cool that a DIY aviation project, was trending on YouTube, and I thought it deserved every bit of attention that it got. And I think it's really cool to like, I mean, let's be clear, like this is definitely like a crazy project. This is like super, super, super crazy. But I have to say with that, the caveat with that is that it's really cool to inspire people to forms of aviation that are a lot more accessible than others. Because most people, when they think of pilot, just like your average person, they're thinking of what you just mentioned, which is like a commercial airline pilot. That's what most people think of when they think pilot, when there's a whole sector of general aviation of people that do it for fun and people that do it for, non-commercial purposes just because they enjoy it. And I think for a lot of people, it takes that little spark of imagination to realize that, you can do it outside of a commercial context where somebody else is paying for it.
Yeah, and even on like the non-general aviation note, like even like videos like yours, like I'm sure it even inspires people to take the plunge into making an RC plane. Like seeing you, make a prototype model of your, real plane that you're going to build, and then watching you do it, that could be like show some people that, hey, if this kid can, make a real plane, I could probably slap together, a foam model or something like that. And it just does good for everybody, because we all know, how powerful aviation is, and as far as, bringing people together and teaching.
All right, Peter, I got to ask, what was the scariest part? What was the part
The
that
scariest
was like
part
crazy?
was probably the first flight, because I took off and, I ended up getting too high, so I was like, oh crap, I got to turn around this field. But at the same time, the batteries were starting to sink. It was not because it was sinking too, it was also because the plane was incredibly nose heavy, and when you're flying incredibly nose heavy airplane, you got to compensate with more back pressure on the elevator to balance out that force. But the problem is when you have more deflection in the tail surface, you're inducing more drag on the airframe, and that requires more power to carry through. So that coupled with a very, very under adequate performance airplane, it's gonna tend to sink. So turning back, I was like, oh no, the battery's starting to die. What's going on through my mind? Oh, I'm gonna have to crash this thing out in the field. Oh well. And so I did. I just kind of bounced around the field a little bit. It really made me feel pretty good about that landing gear though, because a lot of people are really down that landing gear. I was like, well, I just ran it through a whole bunch of ruts in the field and didn't even break or anything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was that the live stream that you did?
Yeah, the really crappy live stream flight.
Yeah, it was kind of too dark to tell what was going on, but it kind of looked like you set it down, on a field beside the runway or whatever. But I kind of figured that would be the moment that you would bring up, because you really can't see what's going on in the video, and so it's like you're just kind of like relying on what people are saying, and you're like, oh no. But hey, man, kudos for doing it live. I mean, that's crazy.
Hey, if I say I'm gonna do something, that means I'm gonna do something.
Right.
So one live, I probably don't want to do that again.
So what happened exactly? You just kind of got greedy on the bunny hop, or you just didn't realize?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize how nose heavy it was because I took off. I was like pulling back, and I was like, maybe if I keep pulling back, we'll just go up. And sure enough, it just went up. I just kind of found the minimum flight speed and just kept increasing the angle of attack on the wing, just bringing it up. It wasn't stalling. If it was stalling, it would just turn to mush and just settle back down. Because the way that thing flies, it flies just like my giant cargo plane. So this is just a translation of that I just sit in. So I just use that to fly around it.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So, you said you wanted to do a kind of like a snow speeder airboat kind of thing. In the future, and it doesn't have to be necessarily 2018, but do you have any plans to build more aircraft, more fixed wing? Are you going to do DIY,
definitely.
or do you want to do like kits that already exist? Do you want to design your own stuff? Do you ever plan on owning your own airplane?
Well, I can tell you probably the plan for late 2018, maybe early 2019, is to build, because I'm only going to fly this airframe for one more year and I'm done with it because it has too many flaws in it. Nothing super fatal, but anything stretching past 3 years would start to put it in jeopardy because, the wood is unprotected in there because I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. There's a lot of unknowns as far as, how that thing was actually put together. And I put some things together wrong in there that I know about. But they're fine enough for just some, smooth flying. But after, X amount of years, it's going to start fatiguing through the wood and whatever, and I'm going to have to change those parts out. So I'll probably just hang it in the museum, maybe donate it to EAA, because they were asking about it.
That's
They
cool.
take it off.
That would be
So,
awesome.
I'm going to just fly it 1 year and just like, all right, I'm done with this death trap. It's time to build a safer death machine now that I know I can do it. So the next machine will probably be, it's going to be like an open frame, like a super stole almost. I really want to build one of those. Like I'm actually going to take this green foam and make giant 2-foot tall tires and put them on there. It'll be a twin engine again, but they'll be high wing mounted. It'll be open cockpit, kind of same as this one, but I'll be sitting under the wing rather than in front of it, because in case it does crash. But real slow, high performance. I'm gonna try to keep it around 180 pounds.
Are you thinking single engine or like dual pusher or?
Twin engine.
Okay.
It'll be a twin tractor. I'm probably going to try to use the multi-copter motors for the, I'm looking at the T-Motor U16s, which is supposed to be sending me, but they still haven't, so I'm still sad about that.
So that's the next project. Do you ever plan on getting into experimental, like gas powered traditional kind of aircraft? Actually, you used to own, what was that thing called? A Super Koala?
Yeah, Super Koala, yeah.
And that's like a little, what is that? A little, that's a little experimental LSA.
Yeah, I believe, it is LSA category or whatever. But it has a Rotax 582 in that, which is a two-stroke, death trap. You can call it two-strokes that. So I'm not so sure about that airplane, but I'm going to probably stay away from the traditional gas. Actually, there is one thing I'm looking at. I'm trying to think of a third project. Right now, there's this G44 Grumman Widgeon for sale right now.
Oh, jeez.
Now the problem with this, shut up Alex Ross, whoever made that snarky comment. The problem with this is it was Sun and Fun, but I think this thing had some damage to it because it was the year Sun and Fun had a tornado go through there. So there's a busted on the spark caps on top of it. It looks like it maybe got hit in the gust of wind or something, and it compressed that a little bit, so that got damaged. There's also some damage to the hull as well, but it's for sale for $82,000, which is like a super cheap for something like that. Even though I don't have $82,000 specifically, but I would love to make that a YouTube project, though I can't specifically afford that right now, and I have no place to do it. Plus, I don't have my A&P license and all that. I need to go get certified for that. I need to consult people that actually restored airplanes. And that's just overall crazy. But that's like a few year-long project. But I really would love to have one of those.
Yeah, we just, I don't know if you saw our recent vlogs, but we, Stefan and I, we got to go out to Utah and do some flying with
Yeah, I
the
saw
Flying
that. That was
Cowboys.
awesome.
And really opened my eyes up because, like, we've been so hyped about paramotors, which I still love, and I hope to get out and do some flying as soon as it's not like 0 degrees outside. But it really kind of re-sparked my excitement for fixed wing aviation, full scale aviation. Just like actually operating like a rigid airframe through the air is absolutely awesome. And paramotoring is cool in its own regard. But we were like flying through the mountains, and like paramotoring, like you really need to have ideal conditions. Like it needs to be super, super calm. The airplane, it's able to withstand quite a bit more. So my long-term goal, I'd love to eventually get into something like those just aircraft, like those Highlanders. The kits start out about 20 grand,
Like
30 grand without a motor, obviously. So it's going to end up costing quite a bit, but I could totally see myself in one of those one day. Or like Trent's Kit Fox. The Kit Fox is a super affordable way to get up in the air too. What about paramotoring, Peter? You ever have any interest in paramotoring?
I do. I actually would love to do that, but the problem is, I have no money to really learn that right now. Plus, I would have to like unlearn certain things with the fixed wing aviation stuff. I think, not necessarily. No, I think it's pretty similar. I think the weight shift stuff is what kills you, though. Like the weight shift trikes, because you pull to go down, and you push to go up, which is just strange in my opinion, for like a hang glider or something. So I'm gonna avoid those.
Kind of like, honestly, I didn't even think about it like that at all. Like when we train, because like I don't have my private pilot's license like you do, but I have quite a few hours in a plane, like flying with my dad and obviously flying RC and flying simulators and whatnot over the years. And when I went to learn to fly paramotors, honestly, it was pretty intuitive. Like it just kind of made sense. And you do pull down to not necessarily go up. You pull down to pull the brakes. Kind of makes you flare a little.
Yeah, that one I get. That one's alright, but it's just like like hang gliders, like those things you hang under with the weight shift trikes. Those are definitely like weird. You push on them to go up. You push the bar to go up and stuff.
I see what you're saying.
I'm not sure about those things, but paramotor, yeah, I would probably do that because I really would like to try that. But at the same time, I'm like, kind of busy right now. Plus, I don't want to spend money.
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive with like you obviously you climb with throttle and you descend without it, and you kind of have a couple of controls, and honestly it's different enough from flying like an actual aircraft that there's really I don't think there's really any mental blocks just because it's a different enough activity. But there's plenty of time to try paramotoring, but I think you should. And actually we've been talking about this. I mean, and when things finally warm up a little bit, is collaborating on some content and stuff like that. So whether we buzz down to Dayton or you come up here or something, we gotta do something.
We'll
this,
get you doing
summer.
some kiting and stuff. And
Okay, cool. Yeah, I look forward to that. That'd be fun. Yeah.
You're super lightweight, so we could just like tow you up in the air. I could just run and tow you up in the air.
Get you airborne before you know it. But yeah, that'd be an absolute blast. And we gotta get you to Flight Fest. So we're getting ready to announce the dates and locations for Flight Fest this year. So we'll be in touch with that.
Yeah, I got some projects planned for that too. So
that'd be
sweet.
cool.
Everyone, we always look forward to seeing them, and I know everyone else does too. So it's super cool.
Well, awesome, man. Well, it's been great talking to you. Unfortunately, I gotta scoot, so I gotta get out of here. I'm sure that there's a lot more things that we could talk about, but it's good catching up with you a little bit. You too. Yeah, where can people find you online? And if there's anything you want to plug, now would be a good time.
Hang on. Where's my merchandise? I got some mugs around here somewhere. But yeah, I just released a really small store, just some small swag offerings because people were asking for it. So I was like, okay, you can buy some of that. It probably helps support the show a little bit and it lets me feed my dogs.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm not that broke.
Get the dog in there.
But yeah. Pretty much just watch the videos, I guess. I do have a Patreon because YouTube is really sketchy with their AdSense. And you gotta kind of play in between the lines, and unfortunately, those lines don't really matter to some people, but they matter to most smaller people. So yeah, check out the channel. That's cool. It's pretty much Peter Sripol. You just look my name up, it'll come up immediately. You can find it there.
Well, we'll definitely link to your swag and to your Patreon and stuff in the links. But yes, yeah, Googling Peter Sripol, and definitely if you guys, if you're not familiar for whatever reason with Peter's stuff, or if you're a recent subscriber to Flight Test and you don't know as much about Peter being on the show and that sort of thing, definitely check out his channel. It's definitely the class of channels that kind of fit into like aviation and RC and DIY. Like it's a fairly small class of channels, and Peter's is definitely right up there at the top. So please check that out. And Peter's, it's great catching up with you, man. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, we need to not let so much time go by. We'll do this again soon.
Yep, we'll have to do it for sure. Maybe I'll come up there soon and we'll do something.
Awesome, man.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys, everyone, for listening. Thanks for watching. Those of you on YouTube, hit a subscribe if you like this, and also check us out on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Leave us a review. Not only does it help us, but it helps other people find us. So it does us a huge favor. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.